Okay. So, thank you everyone for taking the time to attend our very first webinar for 2026. And we thought it would be an amazing opportunity for our two newest regional society presidents, Melanie, who is the president for our new European DOHaD Society, and Debarati, who is our new regional society president for India. So because they're now both new, they have all very exciting news that they want to share. And so I will hand over if Lucilla wanted to add any additional information.
Well, no more information, but just to say how delighted I am that we have, two fantastically new and very exciting groups, regional groups in two such important areas. Europe, we've always been in Europe and very active, but we've never formed a European society. And the same thing applies to India as well, where a lot of DOHaD work actually almost began in with the Indian cohort. So these are two very, very important geographical areas which have been missing up to now. So thank you so much, both of you, to taking this big job on. And that we're really looking forward to the future in both Europe and India. Very exciting. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we will start with Melanie, who will talk about European DOHaD Society, and then Melanie will hand over to Debarati. And then at the end, if everyone has any questions or comments, if you please put it in the Q&A, and then at the end, we will go through those. So thank you very much, and I'll hand over to Melanie.
Wonderful. All right. So, yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really, really elated to talk about all of the things that we have been doing to get the internet or the European DOHaD Society together. And as Lucilla said, there are a lot of regional societies underneath the umbrella of the International DOHaD Society. There's all over the world, but for whatever reason, there's no society representing European DOHaD, likely because, a lot of the international society is in the UK already. But yeah, so in 2024, there was a call to say, hey, listen, we would like to have a European DOHaD Society. And I answered that call and luckily got appointed as president. And it started out humbly with just me. So, yeah. From there, I just want to share our journey a little bit and how, we built this a really amazing executive council, and we've got a lot of really, really cool things shaped up for our members in 2026. And so I just would love to share this with you all. So first of all, just a bit about kind of our mission. So of course, what we want to do is we want to unite DOHaD researchers across geographical Europe. So this includes all the countries in Europe, plus the UK, of course. And the thing is, there are so many people doing DOHaD research in Europe. Even people, I've been doing this research for 20 years and I discover other people in other countries that I've never heard of before. So I think this is something that we really want to change. We want to really get a landscape of all of the different types of research going on around in this geographical region. Additionally, as you all know, DOHaD is a massively broad subject field. And what is sometimes difficult is we've got basic scientists, we've got clinicians, we've got policymakers, and then we've got a whole bunch of different types of fields that have kind of sometimes a hard time talking to each other. So what we want to do is really take our members and have a conference and really get people to be able to network and form interdisciplinary collaborations, because this is what helps make the research go forward. And then finally, something very important for us. There are a lot of early career researchers, trying to find their way through academia. And sometimes it's actually really difficult. So what we want to do is we want to offer a place for, first of all, earlier career researchers to connect with each other, make collaborations, etc. And we also want to find out how we can provide mentorship to these people. And we're thinking about certain possibilities like having a mentorship program. So we have some senior member of the European DOHaD Society who can mentor early career researchers. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about our membership. So like I said, we started in, I guess, mid 2024. And then in December, when we got our first reporting of membership, we had 46 members. So we were very excited about that. Moving on to June 2025, we almost doubled our membership, which was absolutely fabulous. And I think the thing is this just kind of getting out the name of the DOHaD Society and just letting people know that we're here. So also everyone who's viewing today, if you know anyone who does DOHaD research in geographical Europe, we would be very, very grateful if you could just, pass on our website, just mention it to your colleagues so we can kind of continue to grow, and this will allow us to support our members a lot better. So December 2025, just recently we got our membership has stayed kind of similar to 6 months ago. This is actually 10% of the membership of the International DOHaD Society, from what I understand. So far, I think we're doing a pretty awesome job. But again, we would love to grow. Taking a look at the membership from different countries. So far we've got members from 14 different countries, but as you know, there are way more countries in Europe. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to expand. So we have members from all different countries. And this is also interesting because what we aim to do sometime is have kind of representatives of the European DOHaD Society in each country that can also disseminate information in the native language of the country, etc., to really allow people to connect really well. If you look at the red here, the most members are, of course, from the UK at 39. The second most members are from Germany at 11. But yeah, like I said, we want to expand to many more countries and also get just many more members from those countries. So looking at our membership in general, so 55% are standard members, so kind of senior researchers, and 45% are trainees and ECRs. So this is a really, really nice highlight for how we can really give back to our early career researcher members. Okay, I just want to introduce you very briefly to the Executive Council. So yes, hello, me, Melanie Conrad. So I work at the University Clinic of Augsburg in Germany, and my research, what I do is I look at environmental influences during pregnancy and how this changes fetal and neonatal immune system development. For instance, if a mother has to take antibiotics during pregnancy, and then I look at how this influences allergy susceptibility in children. We use human cohorts, we use proof of concept mouse models, and so that's kind of our area of expertise. When I was putting together the Executive Council, because there are so many different types of researchers under the umbrella of DOHaD, I wanted the Executive Council to also reflect that. So I'm just going to introduce the other members. So we have Marlo de Kroon, she's the vice president, and she's at KU Leuven in Belgium. She studies early life stress and childhood development, preventative childhood healthcare, and socioeconomic effects on life course health. So it's something completely different than me, but also related to this field. So we have our treasurer, Julie Niowan Sigurdardottir. I always have a lot of people with complicated names that I have to say. She's from King's College London in the United Kingdom, and she studies maternal mental health, neonatal brain development, and neurodevelopment and behavior. So again, another different aspect to add to the collection. Next, we have our secretary, Amanda Sveresi Perry. She is holding us together, making our meetings and really, keeping us honest, I guess. So she's from the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom. She studies pregnancy, so placental development and function, maternal fetal communication, and biomarkers for pregnancy complications. Our next member is Jorge Lopez Tello. He's our communications master. So he's basically, if you follow us on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, you will see Jorge posting important information about things that we're doing with the society. He's from Spain, from the Autonomous University of Madrid. And he studies maternal nutrition and the gut microbiome, placental endocrine function, and therapeutic targets for pregnancy complications. So our last two members, we've got our counselor, Hani Harb. He's at the Technical University of Dresden in Germany. He studies pregnancy immunology, infectious disease, and relationship to environmental pollutants, which is also a really important topic. And he actually has ability to run, he's ran lots of societies before, so he's really helping us to figure things out as we go along. And then finally, our newest member is Magdalena Klimek, and she is our early career researcher representative. She's doing an amazing job so far. And as I mentioned, what we eventually want to do, we're putting together an early career researcher panel that she's heading. And eventually what we'd like to do is get 1 to 2 early career researcher representatives for every single country. And so they can communicate also in their native language and also communicate kind of different kinds of initiatives that we're offering. So she's from, my goodness, I can't pronounce this, Jagiellonian University Medical College in Poland. And she studies public health and adverse childhood experience, biological aging, and evolutionary biology. So that's just a short introduction to the council. We got representatives of a whole bunch of different fields and many different countries. And we really want to try to emphasize how important it is to get interdisciplinary researchers together. Okay, so moving on, we also have an advisory committee. I just want to really briefly introduce them. I'm sure you know a lot of these faces. What we do is we meet with them every 6 months and we just say, hey, here's what we have done. Here's the initiatives that we're planning. And then they give us really, really helpful advice. And all of these people are, have a huge network that they can use to kind of get the information out. So just briefly, we have Professor Christina Heim from Charité Berlin. We have Anna Zenklossen, also from Germany. We have Vincent Jadot, who does a lot of stuff with human cohorts from the Netherlands. Keith Godfrey and Sue Ozan, who are also members of the International Society, have been massively helpful in helping us to put everything together. And then we also have Louise Howard from King's College London, Martine, last name who I have a hard time pronouncing, DOHaD, perhaps, from the Institute for Global Health in Spain, Petter Broden from Sweden, and Marie-Aline Charles from France. So again, on our advisory committee as well, we've got a whole bunch of different types of researchers who study different things in different countries. So a really big thank you to all of the people on the advisory committee who are able to help us out. Okay, so now just getting on to what has been going on in the life of the European DOHaD Society. So I just want to talk about kind of some things that happened in the past 6 months and also ongoing initiatives. So I'm not sure if any of you were at the International DOHaD Congress in Buenos Aires. It was totally amazing. It was really, really thought it was awesome, all of the different types of talks, and I met a lot of really interesting researchers there. And we had actually on September 8th of the Congress, we had a meet and greet, and we had a pretty nice turnout. About 40 people came, and we just got to connect with a lot of researchers in geographical Europe and get different kinds of ideas, etc. So this was a really lovely success. So I mentioned already, recruited our early career researcher to the executive council, and she's doing a crazy, amazing job. She's got ideas for paper of the year, for early career researchers, for travel grants, for conferences. So she's putting together a really, really nice team for this. So for 2026, for our members, we're in the process of planning several different workshops, and they're going to be free for European DOHaD Society members. The very first workshop that we have planned, actually before we are going to hold a conference this year, what I'll talk about in a moment, and we're going to offer a workshop for early career researchers right before the Congress. I'm going to teach a presentation workshop, so this will be very suitable for any ECRs who are maybe giving talks. Now I'm getting to the most important and exciting thing that I am absolutely elated to mention. We are having the very first European DOHaD Society Congress in Munich this year, September 14th to 16th. So please save the date. We would really, really love to see you, your colleagues, your students, as many people there as possible, so we can really get together and spread the word about the society and talk about all of the interesting research that's going on in Europe. So also, everyone who's not in the society is also welcome. Debarati, if you feel like coming to Europe, we will welcome you as well. That would be really amazing. So just some information. So the information for the conference will be on our European DOHaD Society website. I've included the link here. We are hoping to launch actually on February 15th. So there's just a conference tab, and this will have information about abstract submission, registration, and everything. And we're trying to keep the registration as low as possible. So we're going to have 2.5 days of interdisciplinary talks. We're going to have a single session. So everyone is really going to get in and get their hands there and really understand what kind of cool research is going on in Europe. We are talking right now about having pre-conference workshops. So on the Sunday beforehand, there's a couple of groups who are really interested in doing workshops. So there's the Early Life Immune Network in Germany that wants to maybe put on a workshop. And we're thinking parallel to that, there's a possibility of talking about, human cohort data. And I think Lucilla was mentioning something about the OMOPing, and it would be really interesting to have some kind of workshop on that. These are ongoing, and they will also be announced on the website once we get them kind of organized. So we also, of course, we have a number of really cool social events because we don't want to just, just strictly talk science and do talks. We want to really network and collaborate. Okay, so I just to give you a bit of a teaser of the Congress, I want to tell you a little bit about the speakers we've invited and the lectures. They're going to be really interesting. Our keynote lecturer, Keith Godfrey from the University of Southampton, has offered to give the keynote lecture, and he's really just a really amazing researcher. So we're excited for this quite a bit. We've separated the conference into 3 sections. So first, we want to talk about the exposome across the life course, because there are so many different kinds of things. And when we're in our own fields, like when I think about the exposome, I think about antibiotic use during pregnancy, I think about pollution in mothers, but there are so many other things. So we're trying to find researchers from very, very broad fields to talk about the different ways that the exposome influences the life course. So first we have Professor Christina Heim, who's also on our advisory committee from Charité, Germany. And she's going to talk about adverse life experiences and how this affects neurodevelopment and lifelong health. Next, we have Tim Narut from University of Belgium, and from Hasselt University in Belgium, and he's going to talk about the environment. So environment, toxins, climate change, all of these rapidly changing factors that are actually going to directly influence life course and DOHaD over the coming time period. Then third, we want to also talk about social, cultural, and political aspects, because wherever you are, these have such a massive influence on how the developmental origins of health and disease is perceived, acted upon, etc. So we're very lucky to get Michael Penkler from the University of Applied Sciences in Austria, and he's going to talk about social, cultural, and political aspects. So that's kind of the exposome in short. The next thing we wanted to talk about is the mechanisms, but not only biology or not only kind of socioeconomic things. We want to talk about the biopsychosocial mechanisms of DOHaD. And so we have one slot who we're contacting the speaker right now. So this is to be announced. The next one, we want to talk about pregnancy, because this is the prenatal time period is an incredibly influential time period. So we've got Fatima Crispy from the Hospital Clinic Barcelona in Spain, and she's going to talk about pregnancy disorders, placentation, and mental health. And I'm actually really excited as well. We've got Professor Petter Brodin, who's also on our advisory committee. He's a systems biologist from Karolinska, Sweden, and he does absolutely groundbreaking work on biological mechanisms for developmental origins of health and disease. So his lecture is going to be incredibly interesting. And finally, for the last half day, we want to talk about, we take all this evidence and we have all these nice papers, but we want to figure out how can this influence the world, and how can this make the lives of other people better, or influence clinician decisions, stakeholders, etc. So we've got Professor Tomoki Arichi from King's College London, and he's going to talk about modifiable factors and interventions that we can use for improving long-term health. And then finally, to end everything off and kind of put everything in a summary, we managed to get Professor Luca Chaparino from the Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, Switzerland, and he's going to talk about DOHaD, public health and health policy, and how we can take our research and really get that out to the people that need to understand, and how to kind of elicit change in the world. So we're really, really excited about this conference. Please, if you could, we would love it if you would spread the word to everybody else who would be interested in coming, not only people from Europe, but also from all over the world. And I also just want to give a little bit of a teaser for Munich. So we are Monday to Wednesday is the Congress, and then Oktoberfest starts on Friday. So first of all, if you plan on coming, it would be great to book your hotel really quickly because yeah, we're before Oktoberfest, but it's good to kind of get everything booked early. So I just want to say this is a really, really cool time to visit Germany. You can see, really amazing stuff going on. If you like beer, Oktoberfest is a really excellent place to come, and everyone is dressed up in their traditional costume, and it's just a really wonderful experience. If for whatever reason you're not in for big lights and beer drinking and hanging out with people, I also have to say there are a number of amazing stuff to do around Munich. So first of all, if you really love little, quaint, beautiful German towns, there are so many within a stone's throw that you can go visit. Medieval towns that are totally gorgeous. This is Castle Neuschwanstein. It is actually the castle that they modeled, that they used to model the Disney castle, and it's a day trip away, and it's utterly, utterly beautiful. And in September, you're going to see all of the leaves changing, and it's going to be amazing. If you like nature, the Bavarian Alps are also a very short way away from Munich, and there are plenty of amazing hiking opportunities, etc. And with that, I think I will end. Thank you so much for your thoughtfulness and your attention. And we're really, really looking forward to seeing you in Munich at the conference in September.
Thank you so much, Melanie. I think that's my turn now. So I will start sharing my screen.
Thank you, Melanie, and thank you very much, Debarati. Look forward to talking to you both after we've had the next presentation. Thank you very much.
So that was a fantastic talk, Melanie. Thank you for leading the way. I must say that when we were starting our DOHaD India Regional Society, we had several conversations with Melanie because she was the one who just about started another regional society before us. So she had a lot of advice as well as a lot of insights about how to plan the initiation of a new society. So many thanks, Melanie, for that. But I guess this talk also gives us a lot of ideas about what we can do for the DOHaD India Regional Society. So looking forward. So I'm really pleased to be talking to you about, what we want to do, the vision and initiatives of the DOHaD India Regional Society. And let me dive right in and begin with a little bit about, what motivated us to think about creating a regional society for India. So India has a lot of significant public health challenges. So for example, I'll just give you a few examples. It's known as the diabetes capital of the world. And next only to China, it has the highest number of people in the world with diabetes. In many North Indian cities, especially in winter, the air quality index consistently goes above 500, which is in the severe category of air quality. And we also know that India has the highest number of children who are developing suboptimally, and that's 65 million. That's more than the population of many countries in the world. So we do recognize that there are a lot of problems in India, health problems in India, and we need to do something about them. The second important point to remember about India is that while all countries face similar public health problems, the scale of these problems are unprecedented. So if you just consider numbers in just absolute numbers, a recent report said that there are about 100 million people living with diabetes in India. That's approximately the entire population of Turkey. Similarly, if you consider hypertension, it's 3 times that number, 315 million, which is approximately the entire population of the United States of America. So, we see these maps quite a lot when we talk about the scale of public health problems in India. And India not only has to solve its public health problems, but it has to solve it at a scale that no other country has to deal with. And therefore, it's imperative that we have platforms that bring people together so that we can talk about research, we can talk about capacity building, we can talk about advocacy, policy, etc. And such platforms are not very readily available in India. So that actually motivated us to think about the DOHaD India Regional Society, because we as a group works on the early life determinants of health across the life course. And when we looked up platforms that can support our research, we found that there were none. There was a huge gap in a platform like DOHaD India. And therefore, we approached the International DOHaD Society, and they were very supportive in helping us build a regional society. And we are very new. We are only a few months old, so we are very much in the stage where we are conceptualizing how we want to do things, what we want to do, who will help us, how do we connect with our stakeholders. So, as I mentioned, there's basically a lot going on right now. Despite all the problems that I've spoken about, one advantage of being in India is that India is a very, very diverse country. So the populations in the north of India are very different from those in the south of India. The environments that they experience are very different. The diets that they consume are very different. And therefore, it gives a very unique opportunity for us to look at solutions from a very comprehensive angle, right? So if we are able to bring researchers and educators and policymakers from across different regions in India, then the kind of solutions that we develop will not only be relevant to India, but it will be relevant to large parts of the global south who are facing similar problems as us. And as of a very recent count that our team did, we found that there are more than 60 pregnancy and birth cohorts that originated in India, and they represent almost all the regions that you see here. And most of them have a very rich biorepository of stored samples. So we are talking about blood samples, urine samples, saliva samples, etc., and they are all stored in -80 freezers. But if there's a way to bring all of them together under one roof, under one platform, and if we can advocate for the use of those biosamples and convert them into data, then that's kind of data that is very hard to get from other countries, especially given the diversity of India. So these are some of the motivations that made us apply, and very thankful to the International Society and our advisors who helped us, get us started. So if we think about what the vision and mission for India, DOHaD India is, it's basically, we can think of it as three-pronged. So we want to be the national platform for India, which promotes and coordinates research. And this research is obviously focused on the developmental origins of health and disease. So we want to focus on the earliest factors that influence health, not only at birth, but also across the life course. To be able to do this in a sustained manner, we want to build capacity amongst professionals, and this is the early career researchers, and basically young faculty who probably are looking for partners to be able to do meaningful work. So we want to be that platform for them. Similar to what Melanie said, there's going to be a huge focus on mentorship. Given the excellent mentors that are there within the network, but also recognizing that young researchers need support and advice as they build their own careers. And then, not immediately, but in a couple of years, pool all the research that's going on in India focused on the DOHaD concept and leveraging the member base that we are able to create in about 2 years, start advocating for evidence-informed policy. So can we make sure that our policies are informed by what we learn from DOHaD? And can we therefore strengthen the early life environments? Can we improve pregnancy care? Can we think about pre-pregnancy health of men and women so that they create the ideal environments in which a baby is conceived? So that's basically a slightly longer term goal that we are thinking about. So the way we've organized ourselves is that we will have 4 verticals, each of them led by some of our council members and supported by the larger member base once we have it. So we'll focus on research, education, networking, and advocacy. So I'll just very briefly go through each of these different verticals just to give you a quick flavor of what we plan to do within these verticals. And also to sort of remind ourselves that we don't see these as siloed verticals, but really speaking to each other so that, the research informs education. The research is also the way by which we bring people together to network, and all the members, band together to be able to create strong advocacy pieces. So if we focus on research first, so as Melanie described, we want DOHaD India to be the shared platform for DOHaD investigators in India. So as Lucilla mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, there's actually a very rich history of DOHaD research in India, but so far most of them have been working in small groups or individually. So this is, this provides us with the opportunity to reach out to all of the groups that we've identified and offer collaboration and see ways by which we can bring them together to do work that would not be possible to do by any individual group. One of the things that we are seriously focusing on is harmonizing all the cohort data that we already have. And what we're realizing is that while cohorts may have been set up for different purposes with different research questions, almost all cohorts collect some standard data, especially if they are pregnancy, birth cohorts, and early child development cohorts. So to basically start creating this table of what data can be harmonized, and also develop a repository of protocols that young researchers developing cohorts could follow so that they know what is standardized practices, and also to develop a bank of analytical methods that people could reach out to understand how best to analyze the data that they're collecting. Obviously, there's a huge focus on collaborations. We'll be able to do all of this only once we have a critical mass of researchers coming together. And we want to focus on the new disciplines, right? So given all the samples that we have in India, it's a beautiful platform to look at multiomics, so lipidomics, proteomics, epigenetics, etc., from the stored biosamples that we have. And using all this data, having a set of researchers who think about interventions, who think about how to address the problems that have already been identified. So, for example, we know malnutrition is a big problem in India. India has one of the highest prevalences of anemia, for example. And how do we come together to address them? Same for adverse environmental exposures, especially as it relates to climate change and health, which is impacting more and more of our population. And thinking of health for women, going a little beyond maternal health and thinking of how we can improve health of adolescent girls, women of reproductive age, because the evidence is starting to show that the next generation's health is actually influenced way before they are conceived. So these are going to be some of our areas of interest in research. Second is education. So just as we want to, build on what DOHaD researchers have already done, we want to make sure that it's sustained. And we want to be the platform that facilitates building expertise in the next generation of DOHaD researchers. And we want to do this by making sure that the knowledge is not just theoretical, but when we organize workshops, we want to make sure that these workshops involve some level of hands-on experiences, be it visiting field sites where DOHaD research is going on, and if it is about the omics research, then for students to get some experience in labs so that they can make informed decisions about how to design their own research. Mentorship is also very, very important, and we've already identified a large network of mentors who can support this activity. But we also heard at the conference in Buenos Aires. So the International DOHaD Society is initiating a Women in Science mentorship program. And while it's starting in Latin America, the plan is to actually extend it to other regions of the world. So when they do that, then DOHaD India will also be one of the platforms where mentorship for women in health can happen, and we'll keep you informed about that. We realize that all of this needs money. We need to apply to grants. We need to write papers so people get to understand the kind of work we are doing. So one of the main focus areas will not just be on the research, but also in terms of writing grants, writing papers, etc. As we see these early career researchers to be the ones who take forward DOHaD research in India. And as much as possible, and with a focus on equity, start developing open access educational materials. So these workshops initially may require a small registration fee, but beyond a point when the regional society itself is financially stable, we can make many of this open access and freely available to members, so that those who are unable to attend workshops in person for whatever reason, they're able to at least access it online. And then networking. One of the primary reasons why DOHaD India was set up was to enable networking and connecting people doing similar work. And the way we plan to do this is, organize webinars, but also advertise webinars that are organized by other DOHaD India members. So what we realized is that there are already a lot of webinars or colloquia that are organized by institutions that do DOHaD research. So we felt that, or rather one of the suggestions was that maybe we don't need to set up a separate webinar series for DOHaD India, but become the platform that sort of collates the information about DOHaD relevant webinars that the institutions are anyways organizing, and advertise it to its members so they can improve the participation in the webinars that are already happening. In a couple of years, we will also have the first in-person meeting of DOHaD India, just like Melanie's description today of the first European DOHaD meeting. And I hope that would be a good opportunity for all of us to meet. We will have quarterly newsletters where we want to feature achievements of DOHaD India investigators, members, early career researchers, and highlight any collaboration opportunities, including grant opportunities that can bring DOHaD researchers together. We can also be the point person to, or rather the point platform for cross-institutional engagement. So we will have a list of institutions from where we have members, and anybody can reach out to us and ask about the DOHaD research going on in a certain institute. We're still figuring out how we want to present that information, especially as it relates to privacy and confidentiality of member information. But there should be a way to for people to go in to our website, see what kind of, at least the thematic areas of the research that members are engaged in, and then we can share information about potential collaboration opportunities. And we will have a LinkedIn page. You will be able to connect with us on social media, and this then makes us, accessible to the broader society. It gives us a platform to disseminate our findings in colloquial lay language. It allows us to engage with policymakers, and more information will be shared in due time. And advocacy, as I said, is a little bit of a long-term goal, but our main idea is to amplify the relevance of DOHaD principles in policy making. We want to connect with the central and state government. We want to present evidence. We want to, tell our decision makers what works and what doesn't work, and in what kind of contexts. In terms of international engagement, we want to be the ones who represent India's voice in global DOHaD policy dialogues, and also facilitate South-South and South-North collaborations, given the richness of the data that we have within the country. So just a very quick introduction to the Executive Council of DOHaD India. So currently, DOHaD India is housed within the Public Health Foundation of India, and specifically within the PHFI Center for Developmental and Life Course Research, which is also very new. It is also less than a year old. So we are basically, developing two babies together. I happen to be the president. We have Dr. Yunus Lopo, who's the secretary, but also looking into strategic partnerships, which is very critical at this early stage. We have Suganya Rajendran, who's the treasurer. We have Dr. Deepa Ravi, who will lead the research vertical of DOHaD India. Dr. Prafulla Shriyan, who will lead the education vertical, and Dr. Kirutika Selvaraj, who will be, primarily the person you see a lot once we sort of announce our official launch. She'll be doing a lot of the networking, she'll be the communications lead, and she will also lead our advocacy efforts. So given how new we are, we realized that we need advice from a whole range of advisors. And basically, we reached out to people who are already veterans and experts in DOHaD research in India. So we have Professor Kalyanaraman Kumaran. He is the PI of one of the oldest cohorts in India, the Mysore birth records. We have Professor Sadhna Joshi, Professor Giriraj Chandak, Professor Rebecca Raj, Professor Sunita Taneja, Professor Giridhar Babu. So the six of them know a lot about DOHaD research in India and what needs to be done to make it more consolidated and impactful. They also represent different regions of India. So there's, Representative Professor Sunita Taneja, for example, is from north of India, Professor Sadhna Joshi from central India, Professor Rebecca and Professor Kumaran from the south, and Professor Giriraj Chandak and Professor Giri from the western parts, west and south. We also realized that we want to get some advice from international experts. So just like European DOHaD Society, Professor Susan Ozanne has also agreed to support us as we build our foundations, as well as Professor Stephen Matthews, who was earlier the president of DOHaD Canada. So we really want to understand how regional societies need to be built strong ground up. So we have all of these people coming and telling us about the right things to do. And our first advisory group meeting will happen sometime end of Feb, early March. And we are planning to start our operations after that. The DOHaD India website is coming very soon. I think by the end of this month, we'll be in a position to launch it officially. We are doing our final tweaks and making sure everything looks perfect by the time you see it. And this will also be the portal where you can become a member. Basically, right now, we would urge everyone who is here and interested in DOHaD India to become a member. We will share more details about how to become a member once the website is launched. But very briefly, there's a button called Become a Member right at the top right-hand corner. It will first take you to the International DOHaD Society webpage. You first need to become a member of the International DOHaD Society and then choose DOHaD India as the regional society that you would like to be part of. And because India is part of the LMICs, membership to the International DOHaD Society is actually free of cost. And we are still sort of finalizing the fees for membership fees for DOHaD India. But one of the key considerations is to make sure that the fees don't become prohibitive. So it is going to be very nominal. We do need some funds to get kick off operations, but we will ensure that the funds are so nominal that it definitely doesn't become a barrier to becoming a member. So do keep your eyes peeled for this official launch. So with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. I would entreat all of you to join DOHaD India and contribute to DOHaD research in India. It doesn't matter what what stage of career you are in. If you're an early career researcher, you can start by learning about what DOHaD is in the first place. But all of us are here to collaborate. There are senior researchers, including some of our advisory group members that you've seen, who've already offered to mentor early career researchers, and all of us can come together to advocate for better health, starting at the earliest stages of life. So thank you so much for your attention. I'll stop at this point and happy to take questions.
Well, thank you very much, both of you. That was just fantastic. And as everybody can see, our two new societies are in very capable hands. And that is very important. You're both incredibly organized and very busy people who've devoted a lot of your free time, such as it is, to get these societies going. So thank you very much on behalf of the International Society. It is really very much appreciated. It's a lot of work, but it's so important. And if I might just say, one of the reasons about having regional societies is that each geographical area has its own DOHaD issues. So they're not common to every area, but of course the commonality is in the mantra of the DOHaD hypothesis and the DOHaD Society's reasons for perpetuating the DOHaD message across the world. But I think it's incredibly important. This has worked extremely well with our other societies, that we can all focus on our particular issues whilst connecting with the rest of the world in an organised way. So I think this is, the addition of Europe and India is clearly a very important advance for both of us both of you to take forward. Just one or two things I just might like to say to the assembled throng. To the people who are listening. This is just the beginning of two incredibly big adventures that our new societies are taking forward. And so what we all have to do, we have a good number of people listening, but what we all have to do is to play a role in taking this further forward so that everybody is aware. Again, for those people who may not know, when you join the International Society, part of the fee that your joining fee, which enables you to join the European Society or the Indian Society, goes back to that society. So half of the fee will go back. So those people who will be paying membership fees, because generally they'll be more senior in India, that the ECRs will come for free. Undoubtedly, we haven't quite arranged the fee structure. Half of that money will go back to Debarati and her team to spend on the local activities. So this is why the International Society can help the regional societies. This arrangement has twofold cause. One is that we can give you some support, some financial support, but also that being the umbrella organization, the International Society, we can ensure from our point of view of being a charity, we are a registered charity, that each of the societies fulfills the mantra of the DOHaD International Society, and that all of our governance issues are seen to as well. I mean, that's something we have to do as a charity. So we have that overarching oversight. It is not onerous at all, but we just have to check that everything is being done in the way that as a charity we have to do it. But particularly it's for supporting you in everything that we can possibly do, and the council and the executive will do that going through. It's about the educational side of what you will be both keen to do, especially for early career researchers. We have an international early career researcher lead, so please communicate. Your people communicate with them. We can also share learning material. So we have courses. We have courses which our educational information team do. So Izzeddin is our lead for that. He will develop courses which will be generally in English, but I think that's okay for most of India. I think particularly important, some of the courses he's doing about statistics at the moment. But as you were mentioning, Debarati, a lot of bioinformatics and using big data, metabolomics and so on. I think there could be some gain in having some more courses on large data analysis using either transcriptomics, genomics type approach, or indeed for large data population type data. So we might, I think, and I'd like to hear from you both as to what courses you think will be useful for your membership, so that we can relay that to Izzeddin and he can start getting those groups together. So we could have some teachers from your own areas, but we can also provide teachers from the international scene too. So rather than sort of repeating the effort, as you're doing with the webinars, I think that's a really good idea, Debarati. You know, if you've got a webinar coming along in the subject area, devolve that to your membership, because there are, you don't want to repeat, and there's certainly webinar fatigue, I think, in a way at the moment. So one needs to pick out the ones that are really useful and send them around. So it's just economy of effort I would really encourage, so that keeping in touch with the international leaders in the different subcommittees will help you. Some getting your meetings together, indeed. We can help with advertising anything that you're doing on the international website, but sharing some of the education and material, which from everybody's point of view, I think from an international perspective is really the best. So that I just hope that we can help you with everything going forward. And your scientific advisory committee, perhaps too, in both areas, could come up with some ideas for short courses that we can use to the benefit of the whole international DOHaD community, which would be really good. So I think, it's interesting hearing your parallel thoughts going on. You've obviously been talking to each other, which is really great. And basically the regional groups are all trying to do very much the same sort of activity in their own sphere of interest and healthcare and so on. So that would be wonderful. So I don't know whether we've got a couple of questions and answers which have popped up from Mahir Bhatt. Thank you for the presentation. How to become a member of the International Society? ? Is it mandatory to be part of the International Society, to be part of regional DOHaD? Can you be member of 2 regional DOHaDs? That's a good question. So yes, how to become an International DOHaD Society member, and a member by default of either the European or the Indian group, because you choose which group you want to belong to. You need to go to the International Society website. I wonder whether Pauline, you could just put the link in there in the chat. So it is mandatory to be part of the International DOHaD Society to be a member of a regional DOHaD group, and we've achieved that now with most of the regional groups. The reason is, as I say, it enables us as a charity to have an oversight of all the membership, and for us to help the individual regional groups. You cannot be member of 2 regional DOHaDs at the moment. You can only be member of 1, but you can be an affiliate. How are we organising that, Pauline, at the moment? We've had that question several times.
So what we do plan is that all our regional societies have a sign-in for people to join their newsletters. We will have a page on our website, on the International DOHaD Society website, that will take all visitors, whether you're a member or not, directly to the newsletters for each of the regional societies, where if you're not a member of that regional society, you can still sign up for their newsletters. So that is a way of growing the community.
We've discussed this at length. It's really quite difficult on the organisational front to be a member of two, but we hope that by joining up with the newsletter and the basically getting access to the information about what's going on, nobody is prohibiting anybody taking part in anything right across the international DOHaD community. So everybody wants everybody to come along to as much as they possibly can. And an awful lot of people are not paying fees as well. But you don't pay fees twice, you only pay fees once, and you pay that to the International Society, and then you join your chosen regional society. And on the whole, that works extremely well. And so just a few people have asked us that question, which is an important one. So we'll direct you to the International Society website for joining, and then that becomes clear. That's not open yet for India, or is it, Debarati? It is actually, isn't it? It is open. It is open. Yes, it is.
The DOHaD India Regional Society is already listed in the International DOHaD Society. And Pauline mentioned last month that we already have 6 members, which I was pleasantly surprised because we haven't yet launched in India, officially launched in India. But I'm pretty sure once we launch our website, that number will grow pretty quickly.
Yeah, thank you. So that's what needs to do, and I think it's a system which is beginning to work extremely well, because it means there's continuity and integration between all the different groups. So that's doing well. And the next question was, I just come off. There was a question.
That was from Marcus, which I have already answered.
Travel awards for your meeting, Melanie.
I can actually say something about this. So we have to kind of we're still in the middle of trying to organize the finances, but we did get a 20,000 euro grant for our conference. And this is specifically to cover, speaker travel and very specific things. And we believe that we can also use some of this money to make some travel awards. So we really, really love to be able to do this and allow people from different places to also come. So this will definitely be information that will be included on our website. And then also once we have information about our kind of possibilities for travel arrangements and stuff, we can actually also send that to the International Society and just, so everybody has knowledge about what they can apply for. We'll also put it on the website.
So we're also hoping that if we can raise anything additional, then we'll be able to help towards that. But at this moment in time, because it's a regional meeting rather than an international meeting, it's very restricted.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, anybody who's already an international member and would like to join the European group. So there are quite a lot of international members in Europe who still haven't joined the European group, I believe. So when you come to paying us your fees once a year, whenever it is, you can then opt into being a member of the European DOHaD for no extra cost. But I think there are quite a lot of European members who have not done that yet. So I think we need to facilitate that. Is that right, Pauline? That we've got lots of people in a bigger group than you have, but not huge in Europe, who haven't become members of the European Society. And the same applies to existing members of the International Society who are in India. If they wish to join your society, Debarati, all they've got to do is to log in and join the. I mean, you can log in at any time and do that, isn't that right?
Yes, definitely. And of course, there is also. Yeah, so there's also the contact us, which will take any queries regarding membership straight to the membership team, and they'll be able to answer. So if you can't do it yourself, you just ask the membership team and they'll do that for you.
Yeah, so existing international members may like, having heard this, to join one or the other society, or join the newsletter group of one society, not the other. Okay, Caroline Falls says, not a question, but congratulations to both of you. Wonderful talks. Strength to your arms, indeed. Thank you, Caroline. Really, really important. I think that is all the questions that we have, just looking through. Marcus also says, congratulations, very nice introductions to regional societies. Marcus, of course, was the lead for the Buenos Aires meeting, and is a leading light in our international society. Well, I think that probably brings us to the end of this session, this seminar, but just like to thank you both very much. I don't know whether there's anything either of you would like to comment on, having heard one another's talks, or anything that we can make clear to you as an international society. Are okay?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for your support. Like any time that I'm emailing you going, oh God, how do I do this or that? Like Pauline is always on it, and you guys are so organized. And so it makes our lives a lot easier. And also it was really nice. Like Debarati said, we've been in contact ourselves, just being like, oh, how do we do this? How do we do that? So it's also really lovely. And I look forward to remaining in contact.
Yes, and we've all got experience in different ways, and so we can help one another, and that again is economy of effort, isn't it? So we don't want to have people to have to decide, find out for themselves about one thing or another. We can help, and Pauline is absolutely, may I say to everybody here, Pauline is absolutely steadfast, enormous help to us all, me particularly, may I say. But anyhow, it's a great team that we have, and we have great fun here organising everything and keeping on top of it, and it's nothing but a joy working with everybody in all the groups. So thank you both very much once again. We look forward to hearing a lot more about it. Thank you, and thanks for everybody coming in to listen today, and please spread the word. That's what we want. Thank you very much. Okay.